Good evening, Principal Rabb-Patterson here on this Thursday, September 17th. We're reading Chapter 11 for Writing Chance. I didn't want to be the kind of dude who's scared of his girlfriend, but Chance was bigger than me, way bigger. She could jack me up if I didn't know what I was doing. So soon as I got home, I started working out. I like to use the front porch for stuff like that. I pushed the red and white metal chairs all the way back up against the house so I had enough room. I was on my 20th push-up when Mr. Glover had something to say. He was hosing down the sidewalk in front of our house. A bond exists between humans and animals. He'd rolled his army fatigues up above his ankles, and he was wearing a pair of green flip-flops. I know. Are you establishing a rapport? I was on my 23rd push-up. Take your time with the courtship. He guided some trash off of the sidewalk with a stream of water. It'll make for a much happier marriage. I'm not trying to have no horse babies, just learning how to ride. Take the time to appreciate the animal, he said, all serious. You won't regret it. I wondered how he knew so much about horses. He must have figured that's why I was thinking. I'm not a horseman myself, but I grew up on a farm, he said, turning off the water. Things always went better when you worked with the animals, not against them. Mr. Glover rolled up his hose and took it inside to his house. I stayed out the porch and did 50 push-ups total. There was something to what Mr. Glover said. I don't want to get all mushy, but Chance was always on my mind, more than girls I used to like. And it wasn't just one way. She was checking me out too. Same with that goat, Percy. He was always watching everything, like he had to make sure you were okay before he got close to you. I stood up and started to rearrange the porch furniture when I felt somebody looking at me from the sidewalk. It was Lele. He had this little smirk on his face. His mouth was all red from his cherry water ice he was eating. He didn't try to wipe his lips or nothing. Long time no see, he said. He leaned up against Mr. Glover's car like it was his. Been busy. So I hear. He finished his water ice and dropped the crumpled paper cup on the sidewalk. So what, you're too good for the block now? Who's saying that? I just heard it somewhere. You believe everything you hear? Lele shrugged. I'm just telling you what I heard. The screen door opened up behind me, but I didn't turn around to see who it was. Didn't want Lele to think I couldn't stare him down. Nobody at this address cares about what you heard, Lele. Grandmom came out on the porch with her watering jar. She fussed over her plants before she looked back up. Who threw that trash on the sidewalk? She said. Lele, please pick it up. He kicked the crumpled cup off the sidewalk into the gutter. What do I look like, a garbage can? He crossed the street and headed down the corner where a bunch of guys were hanging out. That dude must not have had nothing else to do, because he was still on the corner when I turned the porch light off before I went to bed. And that was the end of Chapter 11. Let's see. We got 4 more pages. Let's read Chapter 12. Alicia was tight with all the animals, so at first I thought it was a female thing. I wasn't sure if a dude could really be like that. Winston set me straight. Chance already knows you from the time you spent grooming her, he said. We're going to build on that. He always smiled at the horses and said thank you when they did what he asked them to do. Watch how Chance is with the other horses. Talk to her. Play with her. Basically, act like a horse. Act like a horse? I said. I'm not getting down on my hands and knees. That's not what I'm saying. I want Chance to see you as a member of the herd. If she trusts you on the ground, she'll follow your commands more easily when you're riding. Foster worked mostly like Luke. He didn't look like he had a thing like me and Chance did. Winston gave him the same advice, but Foster wouldn't do it. Said it was stupid. But if you ask me, it looked like Foster was scared of Luke. He was sort of jerky around him and never really wanted to be alone with him. Me? I felt good with Chance, so I started acting like a horse. I stretched my back legs like she did, shook my head like she did too. Winston said I was natural. I don't know about that, but what really got me was when Chance hugged me. She bent her neck over my shoulder and put her face against my back. Didn't nobody tell me horses got cute like that. Being with Chance had me thinking about all the kinds of stuff, like what you could do if you could ride a horse. I didn't want to be no cop, but some of them got to be around horses all the time. That's what I wanted. Grandmom said I was too big to be a jockey. She knew because she went to the Kentucky Derby one year. That was a long time ago before she and Pops and Uncle Ronnie. She said once you got into horses, you couldn't get them out of your blood. Said that's what was happening to me. School didn't even bug me so much. I mean, Mr. Paul was stupid and could get in trouble for the littlest thing, but mostly I didn't let none of that bother me. Even when Mr. Bell told me I was wasting my time dreaming about horses. No way that's going to lead anywhere, he said. Better stick to what you know. Like I said, stupid. I just did what I had to do to get over to the stables. I had Chance coming to me, following me, and she would stop when I said, whoa. Foster said I was like some dudes with their dogs. I wish. I would see Grandma's face if I tried to bring Chance home. I would just bring her right up to the sidewalk. Yep, tie her up in the street right next to Mr. Glover's TV. Winston had us riding every day we were at the stables. We always had to do our work first, but there was plenty of time left over to ride. I even talked Pops into coming over to watch. That was something. I couldn't even sleep the night before, and that's unusual for me. I can sleep through anything, sirens, barking dogs, whatever. I spent the whole night going over everything. You know, how to get the horse ready for riding, how to mount, how to sit, just everything. Pops hadn't been in the stable since we first started. Me and Foster were tacking up when I saw him standing there. He looked like compared to the horses. He had on his lucky jacket, though his red windbreaker. It made him look happy, even if he wasn't. I see why you need the rubber boots, he said. You're not scared of these big things? He added, looking around at the horses. Nah, I was glad I didn't have to lie about that anymore. Hey, Mr. Butler, Foster said, lifting his chin towards Pops. Foster, I hardly see you on the block anymore. They keep us busy here. So I see, said Pops, turning to look at Alicia as she walked by. We had saddles on the horses and were tightening the girths. Pops didn't say anything about the smell. Stuff like that didn't bother him. He walked all around the stable, studying everything. Then he sat down on the grass under a big tree. I squeezed Chance with my legs and we started walking. Then, from out of nowhere, I had that feeling again that my mom was with me. I don't know, maybe Pops brought that feeling with him. We went round and round the yard, and it felt like somehow our family was together again. If you're comfortable, cue her for a trot, said Winston, walking around the inside of the yard. I looked over at Foster. His eyes were so wide, like they were ready to pop out of his head. I hope I don't fall off this thing, he said. Funny, him calling Luke a thing. Don't tense up, said Winston. You know what you need to do. Give the horse more rein so you get in the right seat. Me and Chance didn't have any problems. We just flowed right into a trot. That's all. Pops was standing by the fence in his lucky jacket. He looked lighter or something, like a weight was coming off his shoulders. Foster stopped by way before I did. Said his legs hurt from all the bumping up and down. Winston slapped him on the back, and Foster took Luke around to the back to hose him down. I just kept riding Chance around the ring. Way to go, Troy! Winston gave me a thumbs up. Me and Chance slid back into the walking before we went over to Winston and I dismounted. You were great, Winston said, giving me a high five. Keep this up and you'll be making Marcus's spot as exposition. You know his family's moving away. Me playing polo? I thought I had to wait another year for that, I said. Not if you're really good. Winston looked over at Pops. Polo is really about being a good horseman. Me charging down a field on a horse? Winston blew me away. I gave Chance a little sip of water before I took her around to clean her up. Man, me and her were riding strong. Pops came around to the hose before he left. He gave me a playful punch in the shoulder. My son riding a horse, he said, smiling. I'll have to bring Grandma so she can see you. I hadn't seen him smile like that in a long time. It made him look young again. Dre was waiting for me when I brought Chance back around to the front of the barn. Whoa, little brother, what's this? A victory lap? He slapped me 5. I've seen a new rider progress like you. I've never seen a new rider progress like you. This was one of the best days I have ever had. I didn't know it was going to be one of my last good days for a long while. And that was chapter 11 and 12. We'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out what happens on chapter 13. Have a good evening, friends. Bye.